We're live.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting, Sudi's Town Council, January 25th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in Council Chambers. First off, we will have the approval of the agenda. And are there any late items, Mrs. Hilson? No, thank you. So could we have a motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Bennett, Councillor King, all in favor. Thank you. And the last Committee of the Whole meeting was on December the 14th, 2021. So we need a motion, please, to adopt the Committee of the Whole meeting. Thank you. Minutes. That would be Councillor Rhodes and Councillor Harvey is seconding that. All in favor. Thank you very much. And we're now on to business, petitions and delegations. And we would like to welcome the Manager of Finance from the Regional District, Jim Zaffino. So thank you very much for joining us today, Jim. And we're going to get your presentation up and running. And we will let you speak to it, or is it a video?
It's gonna be a video, and I just have to figure out how to do this. And
we'll just get that up and running, and once the video is over, if anybody has any questions of Mr. Zaffino, we can deal with that then.
thank you. Here we go. CJ, can you see the budgets on your screen?
I know I cannot.
What's it showing?
Large white stripe right down the middle.
Oh.
Same for me.
Okay, thanks, guys. Just one.
If you'd like, I could do it live. Oh, there it is.
Sure, if you don't mind, Jim.
Okay, I'll just share my screen.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes,
I'll just do it live. I'm prepared for that, just in case, for all the municipalities and electoral areas. So this presentation is for the 2022-2026 draft budget. It has first reading for the regional district. First of all, if you have any questions as I go through, just please let me know. I'll be able to answer them at the slide where you have the question. So just a brief description of what regional districts are and the conundrum that it's the difference between municipalities and regional districts. Each regional district is a corporation. Essentially, the electoral areas are treated the same as a municipality created under a letters patent, and regional districts have some vested powers through the board of directors. There's 9 electoral area directors and there's 6 municipality directors. The 9 are voted in, while the 6 are nominated through the municipalities council. The regional districts are not directly taxing authorities. The board of directors sets a budget, then the requisitions funded to be raised from taxation are through the province, where municipality does taxes direct. We have to go through the surveyor taxes. And unfortunately, because of that, all the electoral areas have to pay a 5.25% additional administration charge for the service that they provide to collect the taxes. So that can add up. For 2022, I'm estimating just over $800,000 in provincial fees. Regional districts, as stated, that do not tax municipalities directly. We give the municipalities a tax requisition. You include that in your tax requisition, collect it, and then transfer it to us. Regional districts also, we tax the citizens of the different areas. So while the citizens are citizens of Asturias, they are also citizens of the regional district. Some regional district services are legislated, and included such as solid waste management plans and E911 telecommunications. Most regional district services are by choice. So if there's anything that's not legislated, the different municipalities or electoral areas have chosen to become part of the service, mostly for economies of scale or for convenience. Property that is not located in the city, town, or district municipality or village, those are classified as electoral areas, and that's where the surveyor taxes has the power to tax directly. So tax is not controlled by the board. So there's taxes similar as municipalities that rural areas gets and municipalities also, school, policing, roads, municipal finance authority, PC assessment, very similar to what a municipal tax would be. However, the policing would be charged slightly different. Municipalities would charge that direct, and same thing with the roads. You would charge that through your taxes. Surveyor taxes charges it through theirs, and does not. We, as the board, does not have any control of what those amounts are. Taxes within the regional district budget, but not controlled a continuation. So the Okanagan Basin Water Board, sterile and sick release, transit budgets, Okanagan Regional Library. I included this because these are within our taxes. However, these numbers are given to the board, and we just have to accept them. If there's any request to reduce them, that's something that would have to go to the province or back to an agency that's outside the regional district. Budget structure. A regional district is different than municipalities. A municipality could have anywhere from 3 to 5 budgets. Regional districts create separate budgets for every service that we have. So this year we have 156, one more than last year, with the Apex Fire Department coming in as a new service controlled through the regional district budget. Separate budgets ensure that only those that get the benefit pay for it. In the majority, their assessment is used to calculate what the portion is. A regional district process. We started the process in October. I'm hoping that we're going to do much earlier in 2023 budget with all the different forms that were created in 2022 for controls. I feel very strongly that management can start the process in June or July. Budget process. There was 2 workshops this year. Public consultation. That's what we're doing right now. I plan to have a number of consultations. All municipalities and electoral area directors we'll get to choose when the meetings are. The budget must be approved by March 31st, and that's a legislative date. And I thought you might be interested, for those that aren't aware, is what kind of services do we have? So we have regional services, and that's where all of the 15 different areas participate in, things like heritage, 911, and you can see what regional services are on the screen. And continuation, there's quite a few regional services. I counted for the town of Suyas, you have 14 regional services that you participate in. Rural services, so these are services where municipalities won't participate in, but electoral areas will. You'll see on there, for instance, building inspection. You will have your own building inspection expenses, and if there's any taxation, that will go through you. Bylaw enforcement, similar, destruction of pests, etc. So these are where the electoral areas don't have specific departments, so the economy of scale dictates that they do it as a group of 9. The shared services, only those participating in the services pay for the shared services. Example would include victim services, fire departments, and a good example for the fire department would be the town of Karamias. They have fire department, but 2 electoral areas also participate and pay for their share through assessment. And then there's local services, which is very specific and defined. Examples would include, again, fire department, and for this I'll use Anacus Mountain, where it's very specific, only electoral area pays for that, and same thing with water systems. So the budget process, as stated, it is a 5-year process similar to municipalities, but there's no difference. However, each year, according to our controls, there's a program change requests, and there's different requests such as requests for grant and aids, and that's something I'll be speaking to in a bit. So this is something important, and this is where it starts to talk specifically about the town. The total assessments compared to the regional district as a whole, went from 8.15 down to 8.10%, which means those services that you participate in, which are based on assessment, you're paying 8.1%, slightly lower than last year. Total assessment increase in your area was 28.13%. So the assessments are lower than average, which is 28.89%. And when you take into, you've got growth at 0.65, which means that for 2022, all calculations for costs, you will bear a slightly lower overhead burden. Method used to charge administration. There's been some talk about administration. The board's concerned about the different formulas. When I came in the first week, I was asked to do a new administration formula to redistribute the costs. And as far as regional districts concerned, our regional districts, but the overhead does not include the wages for the departments, but includes the support costs. And the support costs, for example, for information services would be the software, the hardware, the licenses, etc. It's what keeps the department going. We didn't think it was fair to start adding wages to the overhead. You start to add wages, it starts to skew some of the costs. So I thought it'd be interesting just to briefly discuss this. And the next slide shows how the administration is calculated, the dollar amount, the different departments that are involved. There is a huge material increase this year for information services, and that's because of a catch up for the licensing fees. So we are paying what we should be paying. The administration cost also includes the software and hardware just to keep the doors open. It's important, and the rest of it are support costs for the various different departments. So program change requests, what that is any increased costs in 2022 that were not in 2021. So the managers would be asking through a business plan, increased staff, increased service level requests, and the board would take a look at the business plan and determine if it's authorized or not. As far as who pays, it's only those that get the benefit for it. Also, and it's the next slide, there is a grant and aid request every year. So there's a request from different organizations that want to keep their doors open and ask the board to pay for the amount. This slide essentially says who asked for the funds and who got the funds. You'll see at the bottom here, number 10, the District of Summerland is looking for a Okanagan Food Innovation Hub. $50,000 was approved. Again, I just want to state that nothing's official until adoption. These may change. These are all the different supplemental requests that were asked by the board through a business plan by the managers. On here, I've got the name of the department, which is who pays. So you'll see here, for instance, under the parks and facilities increased costs, I've got the split up between, for instance, Tulameen, Loose Bay, etc., and how much the 5-year costs are. So when the board authorizes these requests, they're authorizing it for the next 5 years. They also authorize an FTE, for instance, there's not just a cost in 2022, there's a cost all the way going forward. So I thought that's important because they see the tax implications for the 5 years. This one here is just a continuation. The Department for the Parks and Facilities asked for an increase. The reason I got this in yellow is essentially because it changed through after their board authorized this. The director in charge for Naramata specifically said, no, I want that reduced. So the FTE was also reduced. And down here at the bottom is bylaw. So we're inundated with bylaw complaints, and it's taking up a lot of staff's time, and we want to start doing them on a more timely basis. So that's the cost for the new bylaw officer. That was taken to the board as a pre-approval, and it's actually going to be posted before adoption. Continuation, this is a position for the engineering department, and this is for the administration legislative services department. So I thought you may be interested in the capital component. 2022 is the first year this regional district has separated the operational part of the budget and capital. So there's two different budgets. It used to be the capital component was included in operational, and you saw a huge increase or decrease in each of the 156 services depending on the capital cost. So by separating them, there's a more consistent cost analysis that you can compare one year to another on the operational side. The reason that I've included the following capital cost is because at one point or other, the contributed through taxes transferred to reserves. All of the capital component of the budget are either funded through grants, reserves, or donations. So in the capital component, there is no additional taxes. That was taxed already. And that's something that I'm going to continue doing and actually take it as a policy to the board that all capital costs are not directly funded from taxes. And I say directly because indirectly on the operational side, all you'd have to do is do an increase to transfer to reserves, which then will be able to put quota reserves, which ultimately will fund the project. So this one here is the emergency 911. This one is the trails, which has all the different capital projects or purchases, as you can see, for the pickup. So this is regional trails. And this is solid waste management plan. That's a legislative service that has to be part of the regional district component. And this is a carry forward from last year. I thought you might be interested in seeing the continuity between one year and the other for the budget as a whole. It's fairly close once you take out the anomalies, and the one anomaly is 47 capital projects worth $7.2 million were carried forward from last year to this year, and one major project for $8 million for composting, which is mainly funded from grants. So the tax requisition as of first reading, and as stated, it will more than likely change. I've already got some requests, which will actually, I'll speak to it in a minute, will actually reduce your tax requisition also. So it's $947,000, an increase of $44,829 from previous year, 4.96% increase. But once you take into account non-market growth, and that's something I just introduced to the regional district this year. Municipalities do it on an ongoing basis, but non-market growth was not used in the district. And by calculating the non-market growth, the actual net tax increase so far for SUIS is 4.31%. I thought, again, you may be interested in finding out why is there a material $43,000 increase. What this slide does is it shows why there's an increase in each of the budgets and what the effect is in your area. And the biggest single increase that you'll see here is the South Okanagan Transit System. The operational costs are given to us by the BC Transit. The board doesn't really have any authority to reduce or increase that portion of the budget. However, I recommended to the board, and the board agreed overall that we should be able to use reserves. That's why there are reserves in this account. So there's going to be a large decrease in this budget, which will affect not just the town of the Suias, but Electoral Area A and everyone that pays into the South Okanagan Transit. So that increase overall that I have on here for 43,000 will be reduced. Not, I wouldn't say materially, but to a lower degree. This is your tax requisition as it stands at first reading. And this is just a continuation. The arena, the museum, Okanagan Basin Water Board, as I stated earlier, in SIR, there's no control yet. I actually don't have SIR. This is right now, it's at a very high level. We're estimating what it will be. However, the official budget hasn't been received by the regional district yet. We're expecting it soon. This is just a comparison of the tax requisitions for municipalities in the Penticton Indian Band. This is similar at the electoral area level. Again, you may be interested in seeing what the taxes would be for the different property values within each area, and you can compare. So this is the property values from 500,000 to $1 million based at first reading. This is where it is. And again, this is only the regional district portion of the taxes. The school is not included, the roads, policing, etc. That's something that is taxed directly through the same tax requisition. So we wear it a lot of times where people complain saying your taxes are 3 times higher or whatever. than it was previous year. We asked them to look at the school portion and the police to see what that increase was, and then we discussed what ours are. And this is something that is fairly new to the regional district. I do a cost calculation based on per capita. So the more individuals in each of the participating jurisdictions, the less the costs. So, but each person does receive benefit on it. And as you can see, the lower ones, the first 5 or 6 are municipalities, and the highest ones are the electoral areas. So because simply is a lot of the services that the regional district provides to electoral areas, you as a municipality tax through your own tax system. So the A through I pay more, or it looks like they're paying more just because they don't have a municipal structure. This is just a simple pie structure where everyone stands in the regional district budget process. And this is where you find more information. We're looking at asking the different individuals that look at this these slides. If they have any questions at the time that I'm not here to answer with this Zoom conference, they can actually review here and send questions, and I will personally respond, and they can also phone me. All issues or questions that I document, and I actually forward them to the board as a information report, so that the board can take a look and see if there's any concerns with the budget and take a look at amending it if there's a major concern. And I am available to answer questions if there are any. I'll just see if I can stop this. There. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this.
Yeah. We do appreciate all the work that you've done in the last just over a year that Jim has been with the regional district, and he has had a good look at things and revamped some of the way that some of the things were done there. And so it takes us a little, as a regional district member, it takes us a little while to kind of get used to the new ideas that Jim has brought in, but they seem to be working well. So I just want to thank you very much, and I will open it up and see if anybody, any of the councillors have any questions for you. Anybody? No? Looks like we're all in agreement. And we certainly know that Mrs. Hilson will write it down, give it to us, that if there is a question that we have, please know that you can go on the RDOS website and find all this information out. It was hard to see some of the slides, so if anybody has any questions after looking at that, please send them to our CAO and to Jim. Okay. Anybody? No, we're all good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jim. It was nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay. So the next thing that we have on our agenda is the SILGA conference. And I was asked the other day by the president, who is Carla Kozakovich, and she said they're kind of wondering whether there's enough people that will be attending this. And when was I planning to go? Because she asked the directors first. I said no, I was not, because I had the Water Science Forum here, but my understanding was that Councillor Bennett and Councillor King had signed up for it and would be attending in person. Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
If it goes.
Yes, if it goes, and they're not absolutely sure yet, but they would really like it to be in person. Okay, so do you want me to explain what this is, or are you going to? Mrs. Wilson? It's just a letter from SILGA.
They're looking for nominations to the executive board. Your worship, if someone was interested in serving, there's a process described in the correspondence. And they're also calling for any resolutions, matters of a regional nature that would benefit from a regional lobby and submission to UBCM if approved by SILGA board. There's a description of how resolutions are expected to be crafted and the process for late ones. Not aware of any that council's been contemplating, but maybe council has some ideas.
I guess it just relates to Councillor Bennett's so involved with the trails, and that's kind of regional from the whole valley, if there would be any thought of putting something forward about the trails.
Probably a question you could ask for your executive director if she thought that there was something that would help.
Yeah.
Because there's still a little bit of time, right?
I believe
Until
so.
February.
It's coming up fast.
February 25th.
But you know, you can even
Yeah,
bring it up after that. It can be a late resolution if something comes up.
They're gonna need to get 5 or 6 towns involved.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
valley.
Thank you. And, okay, would you like to look after that, Myers, and just see, and if there's anything that you think that should come from Azureus, can you bring it back? Mention it to the next meeting, good, thank you. All right, so is there, if anybody's wanting to run for the executive of SILDA, fortunately, out of about, yeah, I think there's maybe 9 or 10 on the board. I think 5 of them are from the regional district of Okanagan and Milton. So we're well represented down here, which I don't think has happened before. Did you have a question, Jim?
Yeah, I have a question, I guess, because it's an election year, how do you push your name forward, like sort of for half a year, and you might not get reelected?
That's happening with lots of different kinds of committees, so, you know, the probably the people who are already on, and if they're planning to, thinking about running again, would put their names forward, I guess.
Yeah, you UBC
Just
is
kind of
gonna
a-
elect a new executive in September, and then it's
Yeah.
gonna be municipal election in October.
Yeah.
So it's a little different probably.
Anyhow, just a question.
Okay, there's nothing else here, then we will, is this council
Terminating.
terminating?
Term.
So I would like to have a motion, please, to terminate this meeting. Councillor King, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. See you guys at 2 o'clock.